Welcome back. Right now it's the United States versus Iraq. Will the next war pit the entire U.S. against the entire Arab world? That's what we're asking Hussein Ibish of the American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee and also Ken Adelman of the Defense Policy Board.
Ken, you were the one who famously on Crossfire predicted that the war in Iraq would be a cakewalk. 20 days into it, American troops are sitting in Saddam Hussein's palace. I'm sure you feel some vindication, but even as you take your soon-to-be victory lap, we all hope, one of your friends and allies in the neoconservative movement, Jim Woolsey, the former CIA director, talked about being the information minister in the new Rumsfeld government in Iraq, said we are already involved in World War IV, Cold War being the Third World War. Are you guys nuts? Calling for a world war against Muslims and Arabs around the world?
First, I hope Jim Woolsey doesn't become the information minister. I think that the Iraqi information minister they have walking on the street right now is just a classic example. It's the most fun TV I've seen in a while, saying nothing to worry about, we're doing great, Americans are committing suicide. I mean, no one could follow that act. That's a real tough act.
But calling for World War IV, I respect and like Jim Woolsey, but that was a crazy thing to say, wasn't it?
I think those kind of labels are kind of, you know, out of place in something like this. His point was, however, absolutely true. And his point was, we have to do something about the radical Islam movement that is bent on the destruction of civilization. That is a very serious
And Hussein, let's follow the argument a little bit further.
Neoconservatives are not talking about radical Muslims when they talk about the Syrian government, for example, when they talk about the government in Lebanon, when they talk about the government of Libya. I mean, there is a catch-all here of going in all kinds of directions.
Their argument is, the neocon argument is that the defeat of Saddam Hussein will make it less likely for governments like Syria and Iran to sponsor terrorism. And isn't that inarguably true?
Here's the point. That's not what some people like Jim Woolsey are talking about. Some people like Jim Woolsey are talking about. Well, I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, I don't. I think that it is very hard to know. Hold on. No. Hold on. It is very hard to know what the long-term effects of this is, because especially it's going to depend very much on how we manage the situation. If people in the region and in Iraq end up in a year's time looking at a situation that seems to all of them to be a colonial situation, you could very well see the region inflamed, anger increasing, and even if Al-Qaeda... No, listen. Well, look,
we
do have...
at the beginning of the Gulf War,
exactly, and what... Hold on, well, what do you think gives rise to...
The Arab Street rising up...
Look, were you sleeping on September 11th? Hold on. We do have a problem with radicals and terrorists. I mean, you have to address this on a political level. I mean, you know.
Well, you have to have a military level. Helps a lot.
What do you say to the father of the Marine who came up to me today, who is an Arab American himself, his family originally from Syria, who asked me, whose son is fighting now in Iraq, is my son going to be marching on Damascus, Syria as well? Are we going to be extending this war to Syria and send this man's kid over there to fight Syria as well?
No, I see no idea of let's go do Iraq and then we'll do Syria and then we'll do this. I don't see any temptation to do that at all. What we're saying is something a little more sophisticated. And what we are saying is, let's make Iraq a model for Arab countries. Let's have the first successful, freely elected, legitimate Arab countries. Right now, today, every time the Arab League meets, there are 22 governments, not one is legitimate.
I want to know when the election is. Mr. Ibish, I'm sorry, we're going to have to end here. Hussein Ibish, Ken Adelman, thank you both very much. We appreciate it. We're going to go back to Paula Zahn in New York. Paula?